Domo, Senpai desu. Character design has always been one of the important aspects when creating a fictional character, especially anime. Imagine if every anime character looked the same. Like seriously, can you tell the difference between Shanks and Gildarts? Characters are supposed to be unique so that they are easily recognized by the audience. When designing anime characters, there is a wide range of stylistic approaches to choose from cutesy styles to realism. But before you start creating character designs for graphic novels, VR characters, or even games, you need to get your basics down first. No worries, because today's class is going to cover every single art basics and character design on top of that. This time, I got the green light from Papa Colosso to share with you Kohai's exclusive drawing content and lessons from their classes. Alright, let's start with one of the popular entry-level courses, How to Design Stylish and Trendy Characters for Illustrations by Okku. Okku-sensei is a concept artist who has participated in various video game projects and worked on various character art and illustrations across stylized, Japanese style, and semi-realistic art styles. Her class is separated into 5 sections: How to get the most out of the class, Planning a character concept, Designing a character concept, Creating an awakened form illustration, Sharing my experiences as a concept artist. Apart from learning how to design a character, you will also learn a few advanced techniques such as lighting and composition. Of course, this is just a brief overview of the classes. What I am about to show you Kohai's next is highly classified. I've got top grade military clearance to share some of the exclusive content and tips from this class. So buckle up, boys and girls, we're about to go on a big brain trip. When establishing a character concept or theme, there are 6 steps to follow, which are: decide what kind of character you want to make, build a story for your character, find inspiration from the internet, make 2 to 3 drafts before polishing the design, add specific designs to make it unique, add details. Let's discuss them one by one, shall we? For the first step, you have to ask yourself what kind of character you want to make. A high school girl, a furry, or a hot single mom near your area. Me personally, I love drawing swimsuits and JK. Once you've picked your poison, the second step is to build a story for your character. All you need to do is just make a character profile. Well, it doesn't have to be as extreme as Okku-sensei's. Dreams for the future? I don't even know what I'm going to eat for dinner. Just keep it simple. You know, stuff like personality, occupation, powers, weapons, etc. Then, the third step is to find references from the internet. There are a few useful websites recommended by Okku-sensei, like ArtStation, Pinterest, and Creative Uncut. Moving on to step 4, creating a draft. The first thing to do is to draw the pose. Yes, it may seem unconventional to the average artist to draw the body first and not the face, but drawing the pose first is actually the better way to start. This is because drawing the pose sets the tone of the character and the rest of the drawing, which is why it's important that the pose fits the character concept. Okku-sensei recommends finding references so that it gives you an idea of what kind of poses is suitable for the character concept. In Okku-sensei's example, she wanted to create a holy priest type character. The character's occupation is healer, and her weapon is a lance. In terms of personality, she is pure and innocent. There's also this little detail saying she uses light magic. After the character details are laid out, Okku-sensei begins sharing some useful tips while drawing the pose. One of the tips she recommended is try to pull the hips backwards when you're drawing the pose. This naturally creates a more dynamic posture. But more importantly, it makes the breast look bigger. This tip is useless if you're drawing a flat-chested lolly. The next tip is to place more focus on bringing out the character's personality rather than the design. For example, if the character is a shy and timid person, it's not really suitable for this character to have a forward-placing hip because it indicates confidence and forwardness. What you should do instead is put her legs together like this. Once the pose is set, it's time to check the anatomy. If there are no major errors, proceed to fix the draft based on the newly drawn anatomy structure. After that, add some details like outfit, pattern, hair, etc. For parts like weapon and accessories, they require a lot more details, so we will need some reference to help guide us through the design process. Okku-sensei uses the Virgin Mary statue and the Nike statue as references. Then, the next step is to apply only the important features because you don't want your design to look exactly like the references. When drawing weapons or armaments, you can use this mirror function built within Photoshop to create a more symmetrical and accurate drawing. Make sure to use them, it will save you a lot of time. Now that the draft is done, it's time to check if we drew the geometry on the eye level correctly. This is a pose where you can slightly see the upper chest with the pelvis pulled back, so the upper side of the pelvis should be visible. Let's start with the face. When it comes to drawing the face, facial expressions are important and it should match your character's personality. Take a look at the character profile you have created earlier, and try to find references related to its personality. Based on Okku-sensei's drawing, the character has a cute personality, and that's why her facial expression looks pure and innocent. It's crucial to include details like this. You don't want your lolly character to look like this, do you? Moving on to the hair. If you don't know what color to pick, you can simply just open up the hue and saturation box. This can be done by clicking CTRL-U in Photoshop and this icon here in Procreate. Then, drag the hue bar to find a suitable color. Okku-sensei continues polishing her character by adding details to the outfit design, like this crown here. After that, she also added large frills to the dress to further enrich the outfit. Once the draft is good enough, Okku-sensei goes back to adding details.
But Senpai, I thought we were supposed to move on to line art after completing the draft.
Well, there's no such thing as a correct or absolute sequence when it comes to drawing. Instead of obsessing over what step comes first and what step comes next, it's better to keep in mind that there are different ways to work around this. Many of us tend to go draft, line art, color, shading. But Okku-sensei has a different process, and she thinks it's better to paint the overall picture back and forth in no specific order so that the character can take shape faster. Next, Okku-sensei then adds some seam lines to the outfit. It's a good detail because it gives a more sophisticated look to the character. Once the front part is done, Okku-sensei starts designing the back portion. Here, she shares a tip on how to draw the back of the character. Firstly, place a ruler from the top to the bottom. Next, place another one at the hips. Using those as guidelines, you can start drawing the back. Usually, the back is much harder to draw because it's harder to visualize. For example, the lace. You must imagine how it would look from the back if the front is drawn this way. Besides, pay attention to the perspective as well. Since the pelvis is pulled backwards, her hips are raised upwards a little bit, so the underside of the skirt will be visible. Once the back is done, it's time to finalize the concept art. Here are the 5 basic steps when drawing lighting. Setting the environment, location of the key light sources, two-tone shading, color, detailing. Designing the light is also important. It puts a spotlight on the part that you want to emphasize. Okku-sensei usually makes 2 to 3 light drafts and selects one to use. For example, the first draft has light coming from above, and the second draft has light coming from the left. And Okku-sensei chooses the first draft. So how can we split the light and shading parts? In this illustration, the area marked in red receives direct lighting. So to make the lighting seem more convincing, you have to understand the form and the shape of the underlying anatomy. So if you look here, the head forms a round shape. Thus, the border right here should be curvy and not straight. Once you've decided on the lighting, it's time to paint by adding the shadow, highlights, etc. Pay attention to the texture as well. Material like gold has a very different texture than cloth. The last step is to add some details and some final touch-ups. In this section, Okku-sensei will teach you how to plan and create unique illustrations that stand out from the rest, like FGO Ascension artworks. So if you want to know more, you can sign up for this class. The link is in the description down below. If you're someone who has a hard time making a character or aiming to become a concept artist, I highly recommend this class. Oh, and don't worry, all the basic fundamentals like anatomy, color theory, space, perspective will be taught in this class as well. And that's all for Okku-sensei's How to Design Stylish and Trendy Characters for Illustrations. I hope this provides you Kohai some insight on the steps of creating a character concept. Feel free to support me on Patreon, I really appreciate it. Please drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter. DM me if you want a commission from me. Alright, that's all from me. Ja na, Kohais.